Hello, bienvenidos! Today we have a really fun project. We are going to be repainting a doll inspired by Miss Daisy Mae herself. I was really happy to see her when New Horizons first dropped. Not that I don't love Joan, her grandmother, but it was nice and refreshing to see a new adorable little face taking her place. I love so many things about Miss Daisy Mae. I love her little basket on her head, her little nose strip, and even her little apron. But enough of that, let's get right into this video. Here we have a Bratz Babyz Fianna doll, who of course will be our victim for today's project. She has such pretty brown skin, which I think will work great with Miss Daisy Mae. She also has this fierce straight bang, which I think is perfect for this piggy lady. First things first. We will use some acetone to remove the factory paint from everywhere. Face, hair, and the body. We gotta make sure we are very thorough and get every drop of paint. As you can see, I am mixing a 2-part epoxy sculpt clay, which I will be using to make those cute curls our girl's got on the back of her head. I use my sculpting tools to make some details and try to mimic the already existing hair sculpt on this doll's head, while trying to make it look as if it was there all along. While that's drying, we get out this very interesting foam clay, which I will be using to make the basket of turnips on her head. It's my first time using it, but since it's foam, I think it'll be light enough to stay on her head and not make her plop over. First, I start by making 3 little balls with the clay, which will eventually be our turnips, making sure they fit in this circle, which I am using to gauge out the size of the basket. And then I take my time to sculpt them to the desired shape. Now I start working on the leaves. I start by cutting out a bunch of twist ties, which will be used for the stems. Most will be the same length, but others will be a little longer. With the foam clay, I begin to sculpt directly on the twist ties and shape out our leaves. Once all the leaves are sculpted, it's time to move on to the basket. I began by rolling foam clay into strips and sculpt it row by row. Using my tools to create details on each row as I go. I discovered after some hours of drying that this clay shrinks. So I decided to make a new set of turnips which are a little bigger. And now I sculpt the top of the basket. And I take advantage of this time to make it to the size I need it to be. Now, we cannot forget about the cute little curl she's got on her face. So I am using some Warbler thermoplastic and cutting little strips for each curl. First, we make the two on each side of her head, and then we make the one coming off her bangs. We of course use our lovely heat gun to attach them to the head and then mold them to our desired little curl shape. I was really hoping to use her original nose, but it looks like I'm gonna have to give her some surgery just like I did with Timmy and Tommy. So I first do some cutting with my X-Acto knife, and then I use my rotary tool to do some sanding and smoothing. I now go back to the turnips and start painting them white. I also start painting the basket with this lovely yellowish color. After a couple coats of white paint, and once it's dry, it is time to paint the leaves green. Then I go in with a lighter green to paint the stems and some base details. And finally, it is time for the face up. Once I have sprayed 3 coats of Mr. Super Clear on the face, I can start sketching the eyes with a brown watercolor pencil. Girl got some small eyes, so I'm trying to sketch him kinda smaller. And I'm going to mimic the eye shape in the irises. Now, with some watercolor pencils and pan pastels, I start doing the contour and highlight around her little face, making sure I blend whenever possible. Let's also make sure to start building the white in the eyes with the pencil. As well as her lips using some watercolor pencils and chalk pastels in different shades of pink. And I do the finishing details with a light flesh watercolor pencil. I know Daisy Mae has some big bold circles on her cheeks, but I've decided to use my red pan pastel to give her big blushy cheeks. Pretty much some bright red Eskimo cheeks. I just have to be sure to build the color up by adding a little bit on each layer every time I spray with Mr. Super Clear. Once I have built up the colors around the face, it is time to start focusing on the eyes. Miss Daisy Mae is going to have some beautiful dark brown eyes. At this point, I start working on her eyebrows, using brown and light flesh pencils to create some dimension. It is now time to start using our black pencil. I first go into the brows and then move on to the eyes. To highlight the whites in the eyes, I use watered down white acrylic paint to fill them in. With a wet Q-tip, I make sure to clean off any messes I might make with the paint. And I follow by going in with the pencils to smooth out any lines and edges. I have added light reflections to the eyes, and now I fill in the teeth with the same paint. I honestly couldn't figure out how to keep the basket on her head, especially because I like dolls that have accessories that are removable. But I was able to find a solution. I used strips of round elastic. After I figured out the right length, I used some straight pins to keep them secured on the basket. Look, they work perfectly. It is now time to paint the hair. I have pre-mixed some paint to make this beautiful brown color, which I think is perfect for Daisy Mae. After a couple coats, and once it's completely dry, it is time to use pencils and pastels to add highlights and lowlights to the hair. Now I add details on the turnips using pencils and pastels as well. Here we are making her some shoes using Worbla thermoplastic. After they've been sculpted on her feet, I start cutting any excess with the scissors. Now that they are sanded and cured, it is time to start painting him. After painting him black, I quickly realize I don't like them that color, so I go over them with some light brown paint. And of course, she cannot be complete without contouring and highlighting her body using the same pastels that were used on her face. After that, and after spraying her with 3 coats of Mr. Super Clear, it is time to get her dressed. Check out this cute little outfit though. Her little apron and her little tunic. I had so much fun making this off camera. I think it turned out so cute. Here are her little shoes. I actually worked on the color a little more with pastels. This white piece of fabric will be the headscarf. I have used red fabric marker to change the color of the elastic. I'm using straight pins to secure the turnips on the basket. Yet another reason to use foam clay. You can poke anything through it. I really cannot forget about the nose strip. For that, I am using some hot glue. Oh my gosh, it actually took a couple of tries until I got something I liked. The elastic I used on the basket was too thick, and I could not figure out what to use for her shoulder strap. Since I had some balloons, I pulled out a red one and look at what I did. I think now she is ready for her close-up. I can honestly say this was my favorite makeover so far. I became more and more excited as I worked on each detail. I really love the way she turned out, and I hope you enjoy her as much as I do. Please keep an eye out because there's more to come. Animal Crossing related and other fun projects I've got planned. Thank you so much for hanging out with me through this process, and I will see you on the next one.